Every year, 2,500 people lose their lives on British roads as a direct result of speeding. This is the equivalent of 6 people every day. 6 lives lost, 6 families destroyed, 6 worlds changed forever.
We were very, very close because, like, we've been playing football for Manchester City. We were all over the country, so every Sunday we could be anywhere, like, you know. So sometimes you feel guilty because, you know, we have 2 other children, and Daniel give us that much time, like. You always think that's the work, because he played, like, he could be playing up in Newcastle or something, and, you know, your worst nightmare is him breaking his, you know, him being up in Newcastle breaking a leg or something, because you think things like, you don't think like this could happen.
On the afternoon that 9-year-old Daniel went to play football with a friend after school, his family could never imagine the dangers he would be facing and the consequences of what would happen next.
The day Daniel died, he come in from school at 4 o'clock. He had his tea and one of his mates rang and to arrange to meet him. He was a very popular lad, he lived for his football. As he went on his bike, as he went to the A41, which is just up the road, he got off his bike, went to cross over, and a speeding motorcyclist was doing 80 miles an hour in a 40-mile zone. You just wonder how come on the night he hadn't killed himself, because he was that crazy before he killed Daniel. People don't realise how serious, you know, it is. I just wish they could be in my shoes for just 10 seconds of the day, because it's with me every minute of the day when I'm in work or whatever. And if they had a son who'd meant so much to them, who got killed by a speeding motorcyclist, they'd be wanting more speed cameras, and they'd be saying the speed limit has got to be reduced.
On the night that Daniel never came home, in Swindon, Caroline and her 7-year-old son Tyrese were taking their usual evening walk with the dog. When the unthinkable happened, it only took 30 seconds of lost concentration to rob Tyrese of his future. A speeding driver lost control of his car, mounted the curb and hit Tyrese, literally ripping him out of his mother's hands.
He's ruined our lives. He's completely ruined our lives, smashed the whole family's lives apart. He's ruined Tyrese's future. Obviously he doesn't have one now. At this young age, they can absorb all of this, and with Tyrese being one of their best friends, they can speak personally and they can think personally, you know, what the consequences of speed are, because they, you know, obviously they've seen it in the papers, they've heard it from their parents, and obviously they've missed Tyrese in class. He was just full of beans, basically, like a little live wire, always up before me, early in the morning, ready and raring to go to school. Days like this wouldn't bother him, he'd just get out there and just want to play and have fun. He was just, he made me proud to be his mother.
When driving at 35 miles per hour in a 30 miles per hour zone, it can take an extra 25 feet to stop. Those 25 feet can change a life. For children like Tyrese, they remain forever young in our memories. For others, such as Becca, adulthood comes far too early.
Gosh, he didn't do much, if I'm honest. He was very lazy. He was 15, so he spent a lot of his time just going out with his friends, playing on the Xbox a lot. He used to sit with the Xbox Live thing and shout down it a lot, playing on COD and stuff like that. He used to play football when he was younger, but as he got into, like, you know, GCSE year at school, he was doing a lot of work. Well, I think he was doing work, obviously. He was probably playing on his Xbox, to be fair. He's just a typical little brother, really. We used to get on when it suited us, and a lot of the time we used to argue, but we were very close, really, and then we spent a lot of time together.
Becca's brother Chris was only 15 when he went out to meet up with friends on a Saturday afternoon. When Chris still hadn't come home later that night, Becca went out to look for him. Finding herself stuck in traffic on Oldham Lees Road, she could hear sirens in the distance as the traffic backed up even further, unaware that her brother lay in the road, seriously injured, a few hundred yards ahead of her. Chris Dale died later that night after being hit by a 17-year-old joyrider.
The ambulance people just said, just go to Oldham Hospital, we can't give you any information. So we went to Oldham Hospital, and obviously it was Chris, so I just did the whole identifying the body kind of thing, and that was it really. My parents were on holiday at the time, so I dealt with that, and then they came back a couple of days later. It's just not worth that moment of bravado kind of thing, you know. You might be showing off, or you might just lose concentration for a second, and it's just not worth the life-changing consequences that can come about from that. That's what, you know, just say, just because you don't think it'll ever happen to you, and it does. So I think that attitude needs to be changed, because people think, oh yeah, but I wouldn't do that, I'm not like that, but it can happen to anybody.
One in 5 drivers are involved in a car crash within their first year of driving. Nick Bennett was only 18 when he crashed his beloved Vauxhall Corsa head-on into a 3-ton lorry while he was not wearing a seatbelt. He suffered horrific injuries, including a twisted brainstem and 2 collapsed lungs, and even had to have half his tongue surgically removed.
Well, I was only 18 when I had my car crash. My message to everyone who watches this: take a look at your friends sitting around you. Ask yourself this: will those same friends still come and visit when you're stuck in a wheelchair? Cause mine don't, and I don't see what makes me any different from anyone else.
Just think about when you get in the car, it's a loaded weapon. Just make sure you keep the safety catch on, never let it go. Be aware of your surroundings, be aware of, you know, who's around, where you're driving, and the speed that you're doing.
It's not a reality in your life until you've been affected by it, but I think that's dangerous, isn't it, really? Because if we've got to all wait until something happens to us till we actually sit up and take notice, then we're not hitting the right people. People should know about these things before the accidents.
6 people every day die on our roads, but it's the devastating effect it has on families and the drivers involved that will last a lifetime.
You just don't think things like this will happen, but they do, like, you know, and then you see it all the time, and you see people going on about the speed count, you know, and you just wish their son or someone they, and if someone they knew, they wouldn't even dream about it, you know, and it doesn't matter how high they are, whether it's the Prime Minister or the local councillor. If it happened to their son, there'd be no, you know, it'd be the first thing. You don't realise how, you know, it's, but it does, it affects everyone, like, it's